Hey everybody, this is me, the Undead Viking, and these are all cards that are part of a game called Human Punishment. Human Punishment is a game where cyborgs have been created by humans. It's you know, kind of like that dystopian future that you find in like a Blade Runner or Terminator movies or what have you. But these are cyborgs that are able to, you know, ingratiate themselves into our world, and they can hide amongst us, if you will. And with what it's come down to is that the leaders of the different factions that are like trying to they're vying for control have all ended up in the same area, this warehouse, this abandoned derelict of building or what have you. And they are the leaders. They are the people that are basically struggling to win this like war for themselves. The machines want to destroy the humans want to destroy the machines, and then there's these wild cards that are known as the outlaws that are kind of just out for themselves. And you will randomly be given a faction at the beginning of the game, a loyalty, and you'll be your job to try to figure out who else on the table is working with you and who you can go after and who you can take out. It is a game that you win by eliminating the other members of the factions that you're fighting against. It is a social deduction game. I enjoy social deduction games a great deal just because I do like the high-level interactivity between everybody at the table, and also everybody seems to be having a good time with the arguments and you know having a good jaw session, if you will, and you know. I do like the whole secret traitor type of thing going on and convincing people I am something that I'm not. I enjoy that type of game. But let me show you how this game is played. It's going to use a lot of different mechanisms that you're probably familiar with if you've played social deduction games, and we'll come back here and I'll give you my final thoughts. Alright, so I have set up an 8-player game of Human Punishment here. Now, this is obviously a fairly small table, so this probably wouldn't be optimal to play with this many people at the table. But I wanted to show that because, like, you know, as with any, like, social deduction game, I have always found that the more people to play, usually the more fun it ends up being, and this is no different. So I just want to show you some of the things that you're looking at. Each person's going to get an ID card, and I've already gone ahead and you know, dealt out the decks, if you will. I'll talk about that in just a little bit. But depending upon the number of players you will have a specific number of ID cards and loyalty cards that you'll be dealt out. And then each person's going to get an ID card, and they're going to get 2 loyalty cards. And those 3 cards in total are going to determine what side they're on, whether they're going to be on the side of the machines, the side of the humans, or if they're the outlaws, you know, just all for themselves type of thing. Before I actually kind of turn over the cards to show you all what those are, well, first of all, before I go there are, with 8 players, you're going to have 2 rifles and 2 pistols that are in the middle. Like, basically, you're in like a warehouse, and people are going to be scrambling for these guns. And because you can use them as, like, you can use them to shoot people and actually eliminate them from the game, but also you can use them to intimidate and get people to do certain things for you. There is a laser and a rocket launch weapon as well. Those are locked as of right now, but they can become unlocked later in the game with different actions the players do. Alright, so just going to show you something. So you do get lots of these ID cards, as you can see. And the thing with the ID cards, there's 3 things. Each ID card is going to have like a special power or ability that they have. And they're going to have a color, like a gray here for the Mind Eater. Hal Watson is, and some of them will even have things that says always outlaw. If you have any kind of card that says always blank, you're always going to be on that side. You won't ever switch, because things can happen where you'll switch sides. Or you'll have like your loyalty cards will normally would push you to be like, say, a machine in this case, or a human, but you have to be an outlaw, if you will. So there's also let me find like the red means that you are a machine. And like, see here, like once the ID is revealed, then they're able to use the rocket launcher. So they unlock the rocket launcher or whatever. And then let me find, and then so here is a human with Sleepless. And if you got this one, you'd have to reveal your ID right away, and you get 3 programs. And you'd get a size limit of 4 programs. And those are these cards here, the special powers. And I'll talk about those also here in just a little bit. So you have these cards that will determine your ID. You'll also have these loyalty cards that will say outlaw, machine, or human on them. And the whole thing is that the color you're predominant for, if you have mostly blue, you're going to be human. If you're mostly red, you're going to be machine. If you're mostly gray, you're going to be an outlaw. Or if you have one of each, meaning that there is no majority, then you're also going to be an outlaw at that time. And humans win by eliminating the machines. Machines win by, well, and also humans have to eliminate the outlaws as well. Machines win by eliminating the humans, and outlaws win by being the last person standing and still being alive at the at the very end, and everybody else is dead. All right, so I'm just going to grab 3 here. So let's see what we got here. So we have a blue. So we have blue, blue, and blue. Now normally we wouldn't have these revealed, but this person would be a human because of the fact that they're all 3. Now if this was a red card here in the middle, they would still be human because of the fact that they had a majority of blue. Let's just see what we got over here as well. So we got the white rabbit, and notice how we have gray, blue, and red. And that means there's no majority there. So that person would be an outlaw. And I'm going to see if I get a machine here. Here we go. 3 bounty hunter and 2 machines. Oh, and I do have these ×2 cards. So sometimes you'll get these cards that will say ×2, and they just count as double, and they'll determine majority. So if you had a situation where you had this ×2, and let's just swap out like so, and maybe put this over here, like. This person would then be a machine because they would have a majority of the red cards, if that makes sense. So, and that's those cards. Now, I'm not going to keep flipping these over just to see because it really doesn't matter. The whole process of this game is that on your turn, you'll have this card, the active player. And when you're the active player, you have 4 options that you can do. You can investigate. You secretly look at one loyalty card from a target player, and you can investigate the ID card if all the loyalty cards are revealed. And the special powers that are on the ID cards, you get to do them when you reveal your ID, which gives you a great power that you have, because of the fact that you're basically saying this is what I am as far as my ID is concerned, but you are then likely going to be targeted by people that are going to be wanting to take out your faction. The second action is get a rifle from the middle of the table and then aim at a target player and wait for your next turn. So you can just take a rifle, you put it in front of you like so, and you're saying, I'm going to be aiming over at that guy right over there. And, because maybe you've looked at their cards and you're pretty sure they're a machine and you're a human player and you want to kill them. And then get a pistol from the middle of the table and aim at a targeted player and wait for your next turn. Same thing. Then draw 1 program card. Your hand size at the end of the turn is 2 programs. Now, here's the deal. So if you have a weapon on your turn, if your turn starts and you're holding a rifle, you can drop the rifle back down, you can change the target that you have, or you can shoot. And that person then reveals their ID and gets 2 points of damage. And usually, most people have 2 hit points. They're going to die in those situations. And when somebody dies, they reveal all of their ID and they're done. And that's important. After somebody is actually knocked out of the game, they fulfill a very important role. And I'll talk about that in just a few seconds here. But then if your turn starts and you're holding a pistol, same thing. You can switch your target. You can shoot them doing 1 point of damage. Or they have to reveal 1 loyalty card. Notice how this one, the rifle makes them reveal their ID or they get the damage. This one makes you reveal a loyalty card or take a point of damage. So there's a pretty functional difference there as far as that's concerned. Now, I'm going to talk about program cards here in just a moment, but just wanted to say, when you're knocked out of the game, you actually serve a very, very big function because of the fact that there is going to be sides that you're not going to know which factions you're on. the person that's knocked out at that point, after that round's done, after they're knocked out, they'll do the classic werewolf thing. Everybody shut your eyes, and then if you are a human, put your hand out, and then if you're a machine, put your hand out, and if you're an outlaw, put your hand out. And remember, the winning things are if the humans have destroyed all of the machines and the outlaws, they win. If the machines have killed all the humans, they win. And if the outlaws are the last person standing, one person standing, they can't. There is actually a faction of outlaws if you get a certain ID that you can actually have like a secret society, like the Masons, that will work together. And then outlaws can actually succeed together, but they have to win by their own. So if you have a winning faction at that point, then you have a winner at that point. But remember, they have to keep their eyes closed so they don't know. Alright, so the last thing is program cards. Now, program cards are just basically things that are going to break the rules in some way. So, like this one, just you have another turn after this one. And each program card will tell you when you can use it. And so you use this one on your turn. Some of them will say that you can do it at any time. Let me find one of those real quick here. Like here, change the game direction, basically, because you're going clockwise. You play this and you switch it around. You don't let somebody with a gun get a turn that's coming up, and you can do that at any time. And those are things that you can change things up. Sometimes you can do actions like the anytime actions will actually affect when somebody's on their turn. They say, I'm going to shoot my rifle. You'll have a card or you'll have a program that'll allow you to actually affect what they're doing, preventing them from shooting. If that happens and somebody says, I'm going to shoot, they still get their turn. Likely they've had to drop their gun, but they can still draw a program card or something on their turn if that's what they're going to do. So, all of these, like I said, just like the program cards, as you can guess, they just break the rules in some way. And having a bunch of these at your disposal and things that you can use them for is very important for one, keeping yourself alive, and also they kind of form as a type of intimidation, like when you can tell somebody, well, I wouldn't do that, because I got this card and you know what it does, but if I use it, it's going to hurt you, that kind of thing. So they add a much needed addition to the game, if you will. So, there you go. The game is, pretty straightforward. Once you start going, it isn't the mechanisms of the game that make this game fun. It's the negotiation. It's the suspense, and it's got a cool theme to it, and it kind of mixes together a lot of the social deduction things that I really, really like, and I really enjoyed this foray into this social deduction negotiation discussion game, which I just enjoy these anyway, so I knew I was going to like it. Plus, it's got pretty cool art, and it's just flat out a lot of fun. But let me talk about that and more in my final thoughts. Alright, thank you very much for learning how to play Human Punishment. Now, if you've played games like Cops and Robbers, or if you've played like Coup, or Resistance games, Werewolf games, types like that, you've probably recognized the things that are going on. I think it's Cops and Robbers that has that thing where the gun is pointed at somebody at the table, and you don't get to use it again until it goes all the way around and comes back to you, and then you can actually use the gun. So you have this period of time where, theoretically, if you've convinced people that you're on their side, they will, prevent you from being stopped from shooting your gun at somebody, and you're gonna have to play people against each other, and getting back to you all the way when you still have the gun in your hand and actually still pointing it at somebody, and then being able to actually go through with shooting them is a major part of the game. And I do enjoy that tenseness, especially if you're the one that's got the gun pointed at you, or multiple guns pointed at you. You pleading with the other people at the table to help you out, because there's no way you can really defend yourself solely yourself, usually, unless you have the perfect cards in your hand to do so. There's lots of things that I really like about the game. I do like the cards that have the always whatever. That way, like, if other people are looking at your 2 loyalty cards, they see that they're both, like, human, but you have a card that says always machine there, or, you know, or always human, or always outlaw, whatever. You're able to hide your faction, and so then you can completely and totally lie to the person that you're dealing with, and you can make them believe you're something you're not. And because, of course, you can see those loyalty cards and ID cards before, you know, and you get to have them and look at them and what have you. The fact that, like, you can use that to your advantage, and you can, like, you know, if you're always machine, meaning if you want to take out humans, you can go out of your way to try to impress upon people that, like, you're doing human-like things. But of course you have to watch out and make sure that, you know, your machine counterparts aren't the ones that, like, end up blasting you and killing you as well. Which, of course, is always a fun thing that happens and everybody has a good laugh. And I guess that's ultimately the whole point of the game. The game is quick, it is fast. You do get bumped off pretty quickly, so you can't really take it personally. But it is... the game itself just kind of, you know, speeds along and doesn't take a long time to finish. So even if you are knocked out, you don't have to wait long until you know, reboot the game. You deal out new loyalty cards and you're ready to go again. You know, if you like this type of game, then you're going to like this game. It has a ton of these program cards going on. It has a ton of those ID cards and they have tons of different abilities and actions and stuff like that. And like I said, like, there's even like a kind of another faction in the game with, like, the Masons, which are, like, you know, outlaws that are working together. And so there's all kinds of stuff like that. They put a lot of work into this to make sure that the game will remain fresh and remain exciting. And because of the fact that you kind of randomly distribute those different abilities, those different ID cards, you're never going to have, like, the same game more than once in a row, right? It's just going to be one of those things where, you know, here's the Virus Inspector, always human. Let's see what their loyalty cards were. So, oh, look at that. It was like, not only was it a machine, but it was a ×2 machine, but they had this card that was always human. Like, stuff like that is so cool because, like, you could totally hide. And it's like here, you know, it's so cool that, like, you have, like, stuff like that are going on that, like, it just adds to the kind of immersion and the story of the game as well, and it just makes it has memorable game sessions that you're going to remember certain events and times that you played, and you're going to call back to those, and I like that about games like this. So there you go. That is Human Punishment. If you have any questions about the game, please ask Will. I'll be happy to answer those as best as I can. As always, thank you very much for your time, and you have yourself one heck of an awesome day. All right, bye-bye.